the executive and the judiciary. That forms the infrastructure of a normal democracy, certainly in the West and around the world. So the legislature, which is the law-creating body under the Constitution of Khalistan, will be based under what's called the Khalsa Panth. This is the Grand Council of Sikhs worldwide, to which basically any Amritdhari Sikh is eligible to belong. So the Khalsa Panth will form the top layer, let's call it, of the legislature. Beneath that will be what's called, in terms of how to practically roll that out, will be the Khalsa Panth Cabinet. And this is, again, it's like a modern governmental cabinet. It will then coordinate the various functions and activities of that Khalsa Panth. And the role of that Khalsa Panth through the cabinet, as enacted by the cabinet, will be, and I'm just going to read this because it's long and boring, but basically it will act out the ideological, integrative, political, religious and cultural caucus of the Khalsa. So again, very dry and constitutional, but essentially it will be there to form the law. It will be the lawmaker for Khalistan. Now, okay, that's the lawmaker. Who then is going to execute that law? The government. The government, the executive it's called, will be known as the Khalistan National Cabinet. And again, this cabinet, which actually reflects the cabinet here in the UK, for example, the government cabinet, will be the same sort of concept. And that cabinet will be the forum where all policy is executed and government policies and government matters are then executed. Now, interestingly, the cabinet will be answerable to the Akal Takht. The Akal Takht is the highest seat, religious seat of Sikhi. So again, there is this religious tie into Sikhi. Now, as I said, it will not be a Sikh theocracy. In other words, Khalistan will not be, as I say, completely a Sikh-controlled nation. It will be completely democratic, but it will draw its principles, which actually align with most modern democracies. It will draw its principles from Sikhi. So it's a subtle distinction. And then ultimately, you will have what's called the Khalistan National Council. And again, this is another layer down. And the council itself will again be another layer that will then go out. It will discuss, debate, and then it will enact those laws and it will execute those laws out in society. Now, importantly, as part of the constitution, the sort of the draft constitution that's been drawn up, and again, based on Sikhi principles, very importantly, and again, going back to the original Sikh Empire was extraordinarily powerful and globally respected because it treated every single individual, this is quite unique at the time, ironically, even against the UK, every individual, including women, and that's why, this is why I refer back to the Sikh Empire, why it was ahead of it at the time. Even in the UK, in Great Britain at the time, women did not have the vote at the time of the Sikh Empire. But in the Sikh Empire, women were treated as equals. That's how far ahead of time the Sikh Empire was. And that's why the Sikh Empire forms this great example that should be followed for modern-day Khalistan.